10 takes and it's something different every
And he covers all the stormtroopers because he's been in like a million games, Stormtrooper 3, Stormtrooper 4. He's got like 12 different identities.
1 through 36.
That was my favorite one. The first time he did a stormtrooper, I listened to it and I said, Steve, I swear I've killed you before.
Jedi Knights, like, I know that.
And it's like, you have. I've been in all the games. You did a fantastic stormtrooper.
It wasn't just in your dreams.
Thousands of stormtrooper screams recorded over the years.
Yeah, the sounds that he's able to make, it's kind of unsettling. Like, how do you want him to get? How do you want him to die? How do you want him to be like, you know, like a sword through the stomach? It's like all different sounds, and they're always different and very impressive.
There's a difference if there's blood in the throat or blood in the abdomen.
Everybody knows that.
Differentiate that, it's important.
Yeah,
Fluids are rolling around in the helmets of the stormtroopers, you gotta know what's in there.
We had to do a bunch of sounds, sort of a library for them of like, okay, you're being punched in the eye, you're being punched in the stomach, you're being gutted with a fish hook, whatever.
Electrocuted a little bit.
Yeah, we let Steve go first to delineate, like, when your duodenum is being split into, this is your spleen. I mean,
this is how it was
done. Is it from the front or from the back of the
duodenum?
Yeah,
and we just did everything he did. We followed his lead. So.
Yeah, wow.
These are very important details when you're putting together Star Wars. Star Wars.
Yes.
So we were talking a little bit about comedy and seriousness. So it strikes me that when you pull out a lightsaber, when Kanan pulls out a lightsaber in this time period, that's a big deal. There's consequence there, right? So the comedy kind of gives us a bit of a brief respite from all of the drama, right? I mean, you guys talk a lot about the drama. I know that Dave has talked about Star Wars, you know, in public, and when he does, the room just goes silent. Do you experience that in the recording studio as well?
I mean, before we start each episode, we all get in the room and Dave comes in and addresses his soldier. And sort of breaks down where we're at in the world, what's going on in this episode, what the worlds are like, from the people there to the atmosphere on the planet. I mean, you get so much information and so many details, and we reinforce it throughout the session. But he sort of paints the picture and sets up the world that we follow. And it's not, again, if you don't understand the Star Wars world, the first time you hear it, it's like, you know, being in Greece and being one of us. You're like, what? Oh, that, Rhodian? Okay. But, you know, by episode 5, 6, you know, we're speaking Rhodian. So it's good. We get a good setup before each episode.
Well, in this time period, you get to deal with stormtroopers, TIE fighters. You did a video a while back where you had the toy of the TIE fighter, the original classic TIE fighter. What was it like realizing that and bringing that to that clip that we just saw? Was that kind of a dream realized for you, even after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. We were, Killian Plunkett and I, you know, almost the last decade on Star Wars and Clone Wars, and, you know, I love that era. I love the prequel era. I love all the Jedi, everything that comes with it. But when he and I sat down and we drew stormtroopers one day and TIE fighters, we just, at the end of the day, just sat there and looked at the paper, and I was like, we're drawing stormtroopers. And he's like, yeah. But he said it in that cool accent he has. And I was like, we've never done it. Even though we did clones, which are so similar, there's just something about what you grew up with. Whatever your contact point, I think, is with Star Wars, that sticks with you. So I think for, you know, those of us, you know, the older fans on the group, it's really special to see these things coming to life again. You know, I hadn't seen a Star Destroyer in a new shot. The first time I'd seen one in a long time was the updated Star Tours ride. You know, and now we did the Ralph McQuarrie version for Rebels. All of our vehicles are more leaning towards the Ralph McQuarrie version of everything that he was developing. You know, that makes it different from the movies coming out, you know, somewhat, because there's going to be so much Star Wars content coming out. It's all going to be so incredible. We wanted Rebels to have its own kind of mark and really take advantage of being an animated show so we could stylize things. But it is incredibly special. I'll say that the crew that works with me, many of whom, most of whom were on Clone Wars, there's no fatigue whatsoever. You feel like it's day one again. You're going in there, and it's just, we all fought the Clone War, and now we're fighting this rebellion, and we literally did both of those things. It's weird. So it directly applies to the story we're telling now. We had all that stuff.
Yeah, it's similar in the writing too for me, because when you're writing in final draft format, you like, you know, it records the characters' names in its memory. So when you write Stormtrooper, every time you hit S for a character's name, it'll automatically go to Stormtrooper. there's as you may have seen in the trailer, there is a familiar character you know is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And when I was typing it, I was like, do I type him as Obi-Wan, as Ben Kenobi? Like, what is the character name in the actual script? It's stuff like that where you sort of flash back, or I flash back to being, you know, a kid seeing the movies for the first time, never ever imagining that I would be writing new dialogue for these characters. So it's pretty surreal.
So Simon Kinberg, you have a very celebrated career, you know, a lot of different franchises. Was there something about Star Wars that you thought, maybe even growing up, you know, if I ever got a chance to work on Star Wars, I would want to imbue it with this? I mean, is there anything that's like that? Did you have a chance to kind of, you know, put your creative mark with Dave Filoni on Star Wars, especially in this period?
When I was a kid, I dreamed of working with Dave Filoni. No, listen, when I was a kid, I never ever could have imagined that I would have anything to do with creating a new Star Wars. My dream was to see a new Star Wars. To actually somehow be a part of it is, you know, I feel a different, you know, I have, like you said, I've worked on other stuff that I love, like the X-Men and now Fantastic Four, and things I also grew up loving, but there is a religion of Star Wars. It's different than any other title or any other universe. I think probably, I'm sure for all of us. And there's a different responsibility that comes with it. So it is a dream. And for me, the fun of Rebels is being able to return to the original films, which I grew up, you know, that was the reason I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Do you guys feel the pressure, cast and executive producers, do you feel the pressure of doing Star Wars, or is it just fun? And
no, it's effortless because the writing is so amazing. We just show up. Honestly, it's really amazing.
You don't need to say that because the writers are here.
Yeah.
More
you can say the writers are okay, and then
I don't make it up.
do a lot of work on it. That's fine.
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah, the voice direction is so exceptional.
Yeah. Ladies first.
Also, I'll say that I agree with what you're saying, but also I think the fans have been so overwhelmingly supportive and wonderful, like on Twitter and in person, and yeah. Initially, I was a little intimidated, like, oh my gosh, I'm entering this entire universe, and how's that going to be, and are they going to, what's it going to be like? But people, I mean, who obviously haven't even seen the show yet, have been so wonderful and loving and supportive that I have felt no pressure and mostly just fun, and I can't wait for everyone to see the show and hopefully love it still.
Tia Serkar is Sabine, right? Sabine Wren?
Yeah.
So, as a Mandalorian character, right, or the Mandalorian armor, come on! How can the fans not like that? Have you had fans already at Comic-Con here today come up to you, any of the Mandalorian mercs, anything like that?
Yes, we actually last night were inducted as honorary members of the Mandalorian Mercs.
And I said myself, so
yes, Tia and I, we have Sabine helmets, and we have little blasters, and we wept. And plaques. I think I had a heart attack.
I thought Vanessa was going to need medication.
Yeah, I know. I could barely stand and walk. But
it was really cool. Yeah, people have been amazing. I've been getting tweets and messages in Mando, so I'm trying to learn as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah. It's easy.
I'm doing my, but it's been amazing. People have been so wonderful. I can't wait for everyone to see the show.
And you and Vanessa have scenes together. Can you talk about the dynamic between Sabine and Hera a little bit, and what that relationship is like?
Yeah, I think it's nice. We're the only two chicks on the crew, and we have sort of like an older sister, younger sister relationship, and I think you know, Hera and Kanan run the show. I mean, we sort of, as far as Sabine goes, she defers to them, she trusts them entirely, but I think Hera and Sabine have a special relationship, and they sort of stick up for each other, and they always have each other's backs, and it's nice. It's a nice relationship.
I mean, I think Hera gathered these people for particular reasons, and if you read in A New Dawn, you get a better sense of Hera's relationship with Kanan, and it helped me understand how carefully she picked each of these. And you're Mandalorian, please. And she's an ammunitions expert, and so I mean,
like to blow stuff up.
Yeah, we all bring something very unique to this part of the Rebel Alliance, and so I think, although Hera's much older, she has a profound respect for Sabine. So we learn from each other. While I'm still like the mother, but we teach each other. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the feeling is mutual. The respect is, yeah, it's mutual.
I hear we have a clip.
Yeah.
I hear we have a clip. Pretty cool to see yourself with blasters in hand.
What was that?
Pretty cool to see yourself with blasters in hand and just doing the action. So what I love about that scene is that it's a whole other side of the show that we maybe haven't seen yet to this moment, the kind of suspense. Can you talk a little bit more about that tone and its role in the show?
I mean, the great thing about Star Wars is you can really tell any kind of story, and for a TV series, that gives us tremendous range of variety. And while we do want to do funny things, I think it's important to have suspenseful things. When you're dealing with the dark characters like the Inquisitor or strange creatures, you want to take that, you know, more seriously, so the threat and the tension is real. And I think that's what we're always balancing, just like, you know, George did with the original films. They can be really lighthearted and funny in moments, but then you need to get to a point really quickly where you do believe they could die, these characters. Otherwise, the tension's not there and the scene won't work. And, you know, I think writing, you can speak a bit to that as far as the tone, up and down. It's fun, it's light, but it also needs, you know, when Vader came on in the old show, in the movie, it's no joke. You get out of the building. Every time he's in Echo Base, I'm out of Echo Base. He's in Cloud City, I want to get out of this room. You know? We haven't had that in a long time, and so I think we need to reestablish that now, that there's a hierarchy to these villains and to the threat level of what our heroes can handle. I keep saying they have to earn it yet. You know, they're like level 1. You know, they haven't had enough missions yet into the dungeon to really level up yet. We'll see what you get. The dangerous thing is that the better you get, the worse the opponents get. So.
We're in Warcraft now. All right.
That's great. So I wanted to ask the whole panel. The show's called Star Wars Rebels. What does it mean to be a rebel in sort of a fledgling rebel alliance at this point to you? I mean, what does it look like in terms of rebellion, open rebellion, the tagging that Sabine does, for example? Any thoughts about sort of, you know, talking about some of the early screenshots and clips that we've seen? What is the state of the Rebel Alliance at this point that we can say at this point?
Well, it's the very beginning. I mean, this is really the origin story of the Rebel Alliance. I mean, these are people that are not really part of an alliance when the show starts. They're rebels that, you know, don't imagine that they're going to be part of a larger organization one day. They're just really 4 people and then 5 and a mech who are trying to fight back and claw back a little bit of territory from the Empire that's really overtaken the galaxy. And so it's really watching the sort of the first seeds. I think of it like if you were to tell an origin story of the American Revolution, and it was just a couple guys in a farmhouse who were like, we're going to take this land from the British. That is this story with the Empire. It's just 4 or 5 people bonding together against seemingly insurmountable odds. And what's cool is because we have seen where eventually the Alliance leads, we know one day, maybe after their lifetimes, they will win. But this is the very, very first sort of moments of resistance.
So it's a much more personal series in a lot of ways. Is that something you've seen when reading the script? You feel that? Vanessa, you were a big fan of Star Wars and Clone Wars, for example.
Definitely. I mean, Order 66 broke my heart, and this takes place directly after that. And it's a time when, you know, Kanan's a Jedi, but he kind of has to keep that on the down low. If he takes his lightsaber out, then they want to kill him instantly because he should have been exterminated long ago. And so things are very secret, and it really, the idea that you can make a decision and decide to do the right thing, and then you get 2 people together and 3 people and 4, and suddenly you have a movement. I just think that's such a powerful metaphor for the human spirit and what we can all do in our own lives, that, you know, when I see that in the script, it's really inspiring.
I think too that, like, there's a big assumption made that when the Empire takes over that suddenly there's a rebellion, when actually the opposite is true. The Empire takes over, it's seen as a completely new type of order that's replacing weakness that preceded it. So the Separatists are gone, they're eliminated, Palpatine has total control, he now has military control. The Jedi are labeled traitors. So around the galaxy, to the majority of people, they're traitors. They're not looked at as a beacon. They're actually a large disappointment because they betrayed the Republic, and that's what everyone's been deceived into. So there's a period of time after the Clone War where the Empire has, completely unquestioned control of the galaxy. And I think people were tired of war after a long period that they just accepted it. And that's the wrong way to go when oppression is happening and dark deeds occur in that kind of lax political environment. So, that can give you a little bit of
and that's not just like pillow talk to service. Like you see, it's pre-rebellion, so you actually see in the episodes people, not us, people getting abused and manipulated by the rebellion, and so you have a reason to hate them. And our team gets to witness this and see this, and you kind of see the little bit of good they do. So you get to, the short of it is you get to see the reason why someone would want to stand up and fight. It's not just, hey man, these guys are bad guys. You actually have scenes where you see them doing ill towards, innocent people just trying to make a yoke.
Yeah. And actually, each of these characters that form the Ghost Crew have joined this rebellion for very specific reasons that are different from each other. So, and we don't even really know the full stories yet. I don't know if they probably know the full stories, but they haven't told us. Or they do. Yeah. Like, for example, for Sabine, I know a little bit, and it's pretty incredible. It's heavy stuff, it's serious stuff, and it's very real. And so I think as this show goes on and as these stories unfold, you'll get to see why each of these characters has come to join this crew and why they feel so passionately pro-rebellion and anti-establishment, anti-empire. And it's pretty interesting, I think.
And while the ideas are so grand and that all sounds lovely, at the end of the day, we're trying to get food and gas, and it's like, what are we gonna do, guys? So there's a little bit of an element of like this dysfunctional family, kicking each other, like, shut up, and that sort of brings levity to what is essentially a genocide that's occurring.
We've got nothing better to do, honestly. No, there's really nothing left to lose for I think we'll find.
That's right.
And that bonds people together.
Freddie Prinze Jr., I wanted to ask you, it's funny, I'm calling you your full name because this is your Prinze Jr. Fred.
Say Fred.
So I wanted to ask you about your character. Just now when you were talking about seeing those injustices, I can see you get kind of fired up. Is Kane, is there a fiery side to him? What's that character like? What kind of motivates him to finally, take out the lightsaber?
Look, there's a lot of stuff that I just can't say, or the force for Lucas would into the room and slay him. But yeah, going back to something you said earlier, I feel a lot of pressure. It's, I was born and raised on this. It was, like I said, I have a scar from it. I said, may the force be with you as many times as I said, hey, in the 5th grade. It's just, so for me, it's a lot of pressure. If you're gonna be a Jedi, there's a lot that goes into that. My grandfather was pretty cool. He would let me watch these old samurai movies, and on Sundays after these westerns, he called them Goldbergers. They always had Clint Eastwood in them. And he'd always let me watch the samurai movies, even though they were really, really violent. And I try to bring a lot of, and I've had passion for those movies ever since. I try to bring a lot of that mentality to Kanan. So he's incredibly disciplined, as any Jedi would be, but because of part, there's so much I can't say. Because a part of his life was sort of cut short and taken away from him. There's gonna be an adolescent dark side, because that's about the age when it happened to him. And so a certain part of him stopped growing emotionally, physically, within the powers of the Force. And that's going to be something that he struggles with. And it's to go back to your original question, that would be the darker side that kind of gets fired up, that you have to keep in check. Fortunately, he has Ezra, who has no control, no discipline. He does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he can sort of learn by doing. He can sort of, learn by teaching, I guess, is a better way to say it. And so everything that he would want to control within himself, he kind of puts on this kid. And at times it's too much, because he's not equipped to be maybe the best teacher in the world. It's going to take time for him to learn how to do that. And you're going to learn that, you know, he has limitations as far as patience goes. He loses it at times, and he doesn't take things as seriously. Sabine complains to him a lot, and he tells her to, relax, whatever. And he, you know, he kind of has some attitude to him sometimes. So like I said earlier, there's a fine line, because you want to portray a Jedi perfectly, right? Especially with this, because if you mess up, there's no cage. You know what I mean? It's not like a wrestling match in Puerto Rico where they keep the cage to protect the wrestlers. But you know what I mean? So you can't mess up a Jedi. So I work really, really hard on it. I take it very seriously. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I try to make sure I give these guys what they want. And if not, then you know I do it again until I get it right.
Well, I know I'm incredibly excited. You guys, I mean, I cannot wait for the show to open, and the clips that we've seen of you so far are just awesome. That clip with you and Ezra was so interesting is to kind of see the beginning of a dynamic. You know, this is all so new to us. I wanted to ask a little bit more about Ezra's character, Taylor. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what Ezra is going through in that scene, because that's heavy stuff. I mean, to see that lightsaber fight right in front of you, and what do you have to say about Ezra in terms of his exposure to all of this heavy stuff going on in the galaxy?
Well, everything is so new to him. He just saw a lightsaber a few days before that, so everything is new, and he looks up to Kanan more so than anyone. He comes in to the show a very independent kid who he's been on his own for so long. He knows that he's fine, and Kanan is the only person who he can connect with because they have this. Or not the only, he connects with everyone, but he really connects to Kanan and actually looks up and listens to him. So in that clip, it's a lot of fear, but also trust in Kanan and what's going on. And he knows that even though there's some insane villain like the Inquisitor, he has so much faith in Kanan that things are going to end up all right.
I'm glad you do. I don't know if you just saw me get my butt kicked up there, but all right.
That's cool. Well, we actually have some time for some questions. If we want to do questions, let's see, we got a mic there. Just that one right there.
Tidal wave.
Let's see, who's first? We just have a few minutes, but...
Kim Boston was first.
Go ahead.
First, I just want to say, Simon Kinberg, thank you for your work on X-Men First Class. That's what got me into X-Men comics.
Oh, cool.
Thank you for that. And with the extended trailer with Obi-Wan Kenobi's hologram, how much can we see of James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan in this new series?
I don't know if we're allowed to say, sorry, the original characters, but more than you see in the trailer.
That's right. Earlier in the interview, Freddie explained how he liked Star Wars and how it affected him in the early on. I wanted to ask this question. Focus on Tia, and I see this girl, and I'm like, is she really into Star Wars or not? So hopefully you can explain to the rest of the crowd. Maybe more.
I can explain it. I think I can explain it. That's a valid question. I will say this: when I watched the original trilogy as a kid, and I was a fan. I mean, who's not a fan after you see those 3 films? But I think I was too young to fully understand, like, really, truly how incredible what I was watching was. Since I got this job, I've been like binge watching everything I can get my hands on. I rewatched the original trilogy, and now I can fully, truly say I'm like a 10. Like if it's like 1 to 10, I'm at 11. So now I really see what all the fuss is about, and I can appreciate it better. I hope I'm a little smarter now, a little more mature. And then now that, you know, Clone Wars is on Netflix, I've been like binge watching, not only because I think I should, but because I want to, because I'm totally into it now. So I cannot claim to be like a lifelong fan like Vanessa and Freddie who've grown up with it, but it was sort of always in my life. I'd seen it, but now that I'm like involved, I'm all in, and I want to soak up as much as I can.
Yeah, don't blame her for being younger than me.
Well,
That's the only reason.
You said that it's basically a family. So what Chopper? He's like the crazy uncle or the pet?
No. Dave has a good metaphor for that.
Yeah, Chopper. you know, R2, George always used to tell me he's like a dog. Well, Chopper's like a cat.
Okay, so we basically...
He just doesn't care. You tell Chopper, hey Chopper, I need you to fix that. What? Oh, you don't? Not now. All right.
Okay.
When? Don't walk out of the room. You know, you ever try to get your cat to come over to you? Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Where are you going? And then, like, the cat does it when it wants to. So if you want something fixed on the ghost, tell Chopper on a Monday, maybe he'll fix it by Friday. That's Chopper.
Frankly, I'm tired of cleaning his cat box too.
Yeah.
We get to actually in the script see what the beeps really mean. The writers sometimes have a lot of fun with that, so we're the only ones that get to see them.
Does anyone read that across from you, or what's it like reading a scene with Chopper? Is it just like talking to a coffee
You're
mug?
talking to yourself, and if you're lucky, you can sort of read what Chopper's really saying, and you just have to imagine.
He ignores his name, so it doesn't matter.
We get Steve to do it. Yes.
Not well.
Which characters from the Clone Wars can we expect to see cameos from? Will Mondo or Cat Bane come back?
Yeah, I'll just answer that right now. Hold out for months I have. See, I do that all the time now. Work on Star Wars so long, I speak backwards. Why is that? But no, I can't say that. I mean, I would say that a lot of people ask me that. I super appreciate it. The crew I work with from Clone Wars, we always appreciate that because, you know, I think it means that you guys liked it enough. You'd like to see those characters again. That means a ton to me. All I can say is that, you know, let's be honest, it would probably be insane for me to have, you know, helped create that show and for absolutely nobody to show up. But, you know, but at the same time, I feel very strongly that this new cast, these new characters need to stand on their own and they need to, you know, this show isn't just an extension of Clone Wars, and I have to be fair to this new group. So, you know, in a lot of ways, you saw Obi-Wan in the trailer, and Obi-Wan was in Clone Wars, so there you go. You know, but that's not what I know you're really asking.
Obi-Wan was in a couple of the movies, too. I don't know if you saw the movies.
So, you know, it's
Check out the
kind
movies.
of an unfair thing. If you want to know where Eckstein is, she has a fashion show tonight, so she's not on
We're missing her
Rebels.
universe.
Yeah.
Alright, being that Obi-Wan, that we've seen him, is Master Yoda going to be helping out any?
See answer to the last question.
Yeah.
Nice try. See, this is why I open up
You
Q&A.
need to have younger, smaller children that look more sympathetic ask that kind of question. Then we struggle. Oh, there's one in line. Great. That's great.
Okay.
That's great.
First question for Steve. Can you, in your best Stormtrooper voice, can you say, "Stop that ship, bless them"?
Stop that shit, blast them.
And these are not the droids we're looking for.
Stop that ship. Blast them. These are not the droids we're looking for.
I understand that, like, since a lot of the expanded universe is put on the chopping block, are you guys using any of that in, like, your writing at all? So, like the design for Sabine's armor for Mandalorian and stuff like that, or even drawing from any of that? Because, like, the origin of the rebellion's been expanded upon a lot in the universe, so...
I think we're drawing from everywhere, I guess I would say. But most of the show is Ralph's art, the sort of tone and essence of the original movies, and then something completely new and different. I mean, I have a 5 and 9-year-old son, or I have 2 sons, they're 5 and 9. It'd be amazing if I had one that was 5 and 9, but at any rate, you know, for especially my 5-year-old and his friends, and this will be the point of entry for Star Wars, other than, you know, bed sheets and action figures. So, you know, we want, the intention is for everyone, but especially the next generation of Star Wars fans, to fall in love with this cast of characters the way we fell in love with Han and Leia and Luke, and the recent generation fell in love with Clone Wars characters. Like, they I believe, can stand alongside any of the great Star Wars characters. So that's the focus of the show.
Hi, very excited for the new series. I was wondering if you guys do have more cameos from characters from the Clone Wars. Would you be at all interested in bringing back the original voice actors?
Oh, well, yeah, that would make perfect sense. Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying, and I guess you're one of their agents, but there you go again. There you go. Just getting harder. You're breaking me down over the years, guys. We're going on 10 years, and pretty soon I'll just come to you and be like, yes, the answer is this, and that person is in episode 5, and that's all you need to know.
Hi, so Ahsoka.
Oh, good. Good.
I was reading a Star Wars official concept art book, and there was a page in there that was of Tusken Raiders that never made it into the Clone Wars. So my question is, how expansive is Rebels? Are we going to see like Tusken Raiders on Tatooine? Like, is it a more contained story than Clone Wars, or what?
Yeah, it's more contained. I mean, again, I think that that's part of our storytelling that's different on this show. It's reasonable to think that, you know, we have a TV series and we want to be in one kind of system, local system for the most part, and really get to know these characters in these locations where, you know, in Clone Wars, every couple of weeks we had to build entirely new civilizations. We built the entire Mon Cala civilization and used it in 4 episodes. That was it. And then we actually never went back there again. And it was great, and, you know, as a filmmaker to do that, but I can tell you as a production staff, it was incredibly taxing, exhausting on them, you know, because you want to build stuff in a CG series and build and build and build upon it. So the nice thing, I think, that what works well for us in this show is we start out, you know, things start out a little bit simple so you understand this world and where we are, and then it builds and builds, and it kind of works with the flow of the story that way, so it's bigger in scale by the end.
Thank you all for coming. I can tell from watching this footage that the Force is truly with all of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Simon, do you like any of these characters enough that maybe someday some of them could cross over into the live-action spin-off films? Maybe we could get Freddie playing Kanan live, or get Steven Constance as Zeb.
I love these characters, is the answer. And I love seeing them animated, and I'd be a treat to see them live action too. Certainly in the new Lucasfilm, there's a lot of synergy between you know, the live action side and different movies and animation as well. So we're all in conversation with each other, and if the right sort of combination happened, it'd be amazing. It'd be cool.
Can you pass that down to him for me?
Yeah, it's $100.
Sorry, dude, the seats was 10.
I really
Well, I had.
Hi guys.
Hi. Hi.
So first of all, I'd like to say I am so incredibly excited for it. Like, cannot wait.
Awesome.
So I'm pretty sure Dave is gonna give the same answer to me.
Wow.
But I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. I think we all saw that there were lots of TK stormtroopers. Is there any chance whatsoever of possibly TX or scout trooper armors in the show?
Wow.
You're a stud.
You are hired.
Leave it up. Leave it up.
Yeah, they're the most dangerous. Those kids, not the stormtroopers. One thing I loved growing up watching Star Wars was that when you went to see each movie, you know, a big reason you went to see was what was new. We didn't have walkers in the first movie, and we got walkers, and with that came snow troopers and AT-AT drivers. My favorite trooper is an AT-AT driver. You know, TIE pilots were different than the regular stormtroopers. I think there's such a fun thing when you see new episodes or new things, and you get new types of armor for these guys to wear. I mean, there's an entire, you know, division globally of 501st guys that specialize in remaking all that armor. So 501st. So I have always seen it as part of my duty to create new armors for these guys to build, especially after they just finished making a new one. I want to wear a new one, so they then have to make that one, and then they complain about it. But they don't really complain. They love it. They love when they get new stuff. So if you would like a bunch of new stormtrooper types and action figures, then we're going to do our best to get you them.
They just wear you down. Just wear you down.
They wear me down, David.
Yeah.
They wear me down.
Good job. Congratulations. Right here.
In the prequels and in
Clone Wars, they always show Coruscant and a bunch of other worlds that weren't in the original movies. Are you gonna keep them separated and have Coruscant like be only in the pre-era, and you're not gonna show them like the world we saw in the Clone Wars and the prequels are gonna be separated with the Rebels is gonna be like the same worlds we saw in the original series and
You know, to me, it's just one big galaxy. We could really go to any of these planets. Coruscant is always a very, 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 very difficult planet to produce because of its scale, its buildings, the population there. So there are a lot of things that when you're making a movie you have to consider beyond just would it be exciting to go there. But to me, you know, I don't like to think just, you know, prequels, Clone Wars, original trilogy. It's just Star Wars. And in Star Wars we can go anywhere.
Hi, yes. You were saying that at the start of the show, it was more the Empire's young and everybody's accepting them. But is it possible, like when the seasons go on, the rebellion goes on beyond these 5 ragtag rebels, you know?
Yeah, it's possible.
I think, yeah, A New Hope, it seemed to get a lot bigger. Yeah. It wasn't just these 5 guys, but yeah.
Seb's hoping to find a girlfriend.
Go ahead, Ray. I have so many questions because I'm so damn excited. I'm just going to pare it down to one. And it's basically, what's it like working with Greg Weisman, Mr.
Greg is great. I mean,
awesome.
Bottom line, we couldn't have gotten off the ground and got this done without Greg. Greg deserves a big round of applause. Greg Weisman. He just brings an amazing, you know, vision to the writing. He brings a complex level of detail and great character study the whole time. And collaborating with him for Simon, I think, was really key in the beginning. We had an idea of what we wanted this to be, but you know, Greg coming in the room really focused it. And you know, I think what you're going to see as the season develops just how special, you know, the writing is.
Yeah, his voice is a huge part of the show, too. I mean, it really was, I would say, you know, if anyone authored the show, we sort of all, the 3 of us, I guess, authored the show together.
And he's a lovely person to boot.
Wonderful.
So we're coming towards the end. We still have something special, but we have time for one more question. So right here.
Look at Ezra, how disappointed he is.
Ezra's got a first question.
Go ahead, buddy.
So Dave, what was your favorite season making and why of the Clone Wars?
Ooh, my favorite season? It's always hard to say, but we always improved so greatly one season to the next. I always tended to favor the last season. I don't go back and watch it a lot. I have so many memories wrapped up in it, and I have a lot of business to get to now. I'm thankful I have a lot of the core crew with me still making this show that you know, we just couldn't do without any of them. They're so important to this process. But I have, if there's an episode I go back and watch, I watch the 2 episodes when Ahsoka meets Chewbacca. I love those episodes, partly because I got to meet Peter Mayhew and spend a nice deal of time with him, and he's a fantastic person. And I watched her finale when she goes out. That character is very important to me. Something that George and I created together, and I think we really, from where she started out in the film Clone Wars to where she ended up, it was just a really fun character to make. So that's what I tend to watch, and I think it represents those episodes, the best work that my crew did, and I can never separate the storytelling from the people that helped make it. So.
So I understand, before we wrap for the evening, we have something else to see. A little bit more of Star Wars Rebels. You guys want to see some more? You want to set this up?
Yeah, this is something special that I always have to have for Comic-Con. For a long time, my buddy Kevin Yost, he and I, you know, just big Star Wars fans, way before I ever had this job, and somehow by miracle we both wound up working for Lucasfilm. Kevin has made just about every Clone Wars trailer the last several years that I had made, and it was super important that he get to do Rebels trailer. So this is one of Kevin's specials made just for you guys here at Comic-Con. This is going to show you what's coming.
Ex-girlfriend brought me to sign, and she's like, thank you.